In the heart of a bustling city where neon lights blinked through the night and the streets never truly slept, lived Charles Whitmore, a man with everything money could buy, but a heart quietly aching with loneliness. CEO of a billion-dollar tech firm, Charles was often seen on magazine covers, sipping champagne at gala events or stepping out of sleek black cars in hand-stitched suits. But beneath the polished exterior was a man estranged from meaning, endlessly moving through routines that filled his wallet but not his soul. One crisp autumn evening, after yet another business dinner that left him feeling more isolated than full, Charles took an unfamiliar detour through a park he'd passed 1,000 times but never entered. The air was cool, the wind dancing with amber leaves, and for the first time in a while, Charles slowed down, letting his steps wander without purpose. As he strolled past the empty playground, something caught his eye. A small figure curled up on a bench, shivering beneath a thin hoodie, clutching a battered teddy bear with one missing eye. He stopped. It was a little girl. Alone. Asleep. No adult in sight. Her small frame was huddled tightly, trying to stay warm against the creeping chill of night. Charles stared, his breath catching. He had seen poverty before, through tinted limo windows, on late-night charity commercials, but never like this. Never so close. Never so human. He approached quietly, trying not to startle her. She stirred slightly but didn't wake. Her cheeks were streaked with dirt, and her sneakers, 2 sizes too big, were barely holding together. She couldn't have been more than 7. He crouched beside her, unsure what to do. Call someone. Wake her up. Walk away and convince himself it wasn't his place. Instead, he sat beside the bench, waiting in silence. By morning, she had gone. But Charles couldn't forget her. Over the following days, he contacted shelters, filed reports, and called in favors from friends in City Hall. He walked the same park every evening, hoping to see her again. He didn't know why this one child had pierced through the fog of his life, only that she had. And that he couldn't just move on. 2 weeks later, a private investigator he hired found a lead. A foster home outside the city had taken in a girl found wandering alone, matching her description. Without hesitation, Charles drove there himself. A social worker led him through the modest building to a small room where the girl sat on the floor drawing quietly with broken crayons. She looked up as he entered. Her eyes widened. It was her. "Hi," he said gently, kneeling down. "My name is Charles. I saw you at the park that night." She blinked. "I remember," she whispered. "What's your name?" "Mia." He smiled. "Mia, how would you feel about coming home with me? I want to help you. I want you to have a place where you're safe. Where you're loved." She looked unsure, clutching her teddy bear tighter. The social worker stepped in, explaining that it wasn't that simple, that there were protocols, custody laws, background checks. Charles nodded. He would do everything by the book. However long it took, he would wait. It took months. But eventually, Mia came home with him. The cold, silent penthouse began to change. At first slowly, one pink blanket on the couch, a pair of tiny shoes by the door. Then, more rapidly. The walls echoed with laughter. Crayon drawings began appearing on the refrigerator. Mia, once timid and quiet, blossomed. She started school, made friends, and filled the apartment with music and questions and giggles. Charles transformed, too. He was no longer the man who lived for quarterly reports and stock options. He was a father now. He learned to braid hair, helped with science fair projects, and sat through dance recitals with tears in his eyes. For the first time, he didn't dread coming home, he couldn't wait. But the journey wasn't easy. Mia carried invisible scars. Some nights she woke screaming from dreams she couldn't describe. Sometimes, she froze when people raised their voices. She still held on to that teddy bear as if it were the only thing keeping her grounded. And every time she stumbled or cried or withdrew, Charles stayed by her side, reminding her that she was safe now, that he wasn't going anywhere. Years passed. Mia grew strong. She graduated with honors, got into college, and eventually came to Charles with an idea that took his breath away. "I want to help other kids like me," she said. "I want to make sure no child has to sleep alone in a playground, wondering if anyone cares." And so they did. Together, they founded a nonprofit that provided emergency shelter and long-term support for homeless children. The Mia Foundation, named not just for the girl who had once been lost, but for the hope she now embodied. Charles funded the first center himself. Within 5 years, there were locations in 3 states. 10 years later, there were dozens around the country. Charles never forgot the night he found Mia. The night his world tilted forever. Now in his 60s, he often sat in the corner of the foundation's main center, watching children play and families reunite. On one wall hung a photo of him and Mia at a ribbon-cutting ceremony, her smile radiant, her eyes filled with light. He looked at it often, not with